Hey book lovers, welcome back to my channel. Michelle Mahoney here. Today's video, I'm going to be talking about all of the books that I read in March. Alright, the first book I'm going to talk about is Jeanette McCurdy, I'm Glad My Mom Died. I listened to this book on audiobook. You can see it there. I was a little hesitant to read this book because I also have like a conflicting relationship with my mom. And so I didn't know how I would feel about reading somebody else having a difficult time. But it was actually a really, really well-written book. Definitely you get to see a different side of Jeanette, and also definitely like how she grew up and like how she got into it. And I was a little bit too old for the iCarly show and like her realm of acting. Even though we're not far off from age, but I just wasn't like, it wasn't my thing. But like my little brother watched that show, and so I did like know about it. Her story is crazy, and I do love that she is the narrator for the book, because that is my biggest thing is like if I'm listening to an audiobook, I really like to listen to, if it's an autobiography, I like the person who wrote it to read it. So like celebrities and things like that, when I read their memoirs, I like when they're the ones reading it, because then I feel like it's more personable, and you're going to get their inflection and their tone, everything the way that they would actually say it and want to say it, because they wrote it, right? Even if they had help, whatever. We're not here to get into that kind of stuff. But I really liked that she read it, and I have a lot of respect for her, and she just definitely had a really difficult childhood, and like navigating like who she is, and like finding out, like going through the motions to figure out like, hey mom, like I don't want to do what you want me to do, and I'm going to do my own thing. And she kind of did that. So definitely proud of her. Definitely liked her story. Definitely feel for her for sure. But definitely a good one. The next book on my list that I read was Eat, Pray, FML by Gabrielle Stone, I believe. I can correct that here if I'm wrong. I loved this book so much. I found Gabrielle on TikTok. That's how I found out about her. And then she like talks about her whole life, like, and writing a book about it. Not her whole life, but a portion of her life. She writes a book about it. And it pretty much, like, if you find her TikTok, it's just all over the place. It says, like, she found out her husband was cheating on her with, like, a 19-year-old. And she ends up, like, you know, getting a divorce from him and falling in love with this other guy. And they're supposed to go on this trip to Europe. And then, like, he breaks up with her, like, a day before they go. And then it talks about her, like, going on the trip anyway and not living for anybody else but herself. And that's, like, a general synopsis of it. And it is just a fantastic story. Again, she narrated it, so it was really awesome because I love, like, hearing their voice, even though I don't know her as, like, anywhere else except for TikTok. But it was definitely fun learning about her story and, like, everything that she goes through, and just breaking the barriers of, like, who she is as a person, and, like, finding out. Sometimes our biggest tragedies in life end up being the way, like, they end up shaping us for who we are today, and it ends up being, like, the best thing for you, because now Gabrielle, like, all these people know who she is and what she went through and how she struggled. And yeah, that was, like, a really difficult time in her life, but a lot of people living and learning from her, and also getting inspired by her. And I feel like everybody, when you're in the thick of your story, you just don't realize like how great you're going to come out on the other end. But I think that's why it's important to, like, share your life and share and document what you're going through, because you never know what's actually going to relate to somebody else. And then they find you and they're like, oh my gosh, finally somebody who gets it, finally someone who understands me. And so I feel like for me, that's like the purpose of social media and YouTube and all that, is I like being able to share my experiences and the things that I'm doing and the things that I like about life. And then if I can inspire somebody else to do the same thing, or to do something that they, or like learn from me to end up doing something that they've wanted to do, I want to be that person for somebody. I want to be the person that helps somebody make a difference. So I think that sharing our stories like that is, like, super important. The other stories here, I'm going to put both of them here. Twisted and Wretched from the, what is it? The Ever After series. It's like dark romance. There's 4 of them. I still have one more to go, actually, crossed. It's up there somewhere. But these stories are so great. I read Scarred a couple months ago, and then Hooked I read actually last year sometime. But these 2 are so great. Dark romance, erotica, smut, whatever you want to call it. It's there for sure. But these books are really good. They are, if you don't know anything about the series, Emily McIntyre writes about, like, she gives, like, nods to fairy tales. So, like, one of them is about Aladdin, And well, like it's not based off of, but like there's hints to like Aladdin and Jafar and Jasmine. So like the characters are like based around that premise, but it's like not fantasy. It's a very realistic story. So it kind of gives a nod to those stories. So like once you start reading them, you'll like recognize the characters and you'll kind of get it. You'll understand. But the books are not fantasy. I'm not a fantasy reader typically. And so I still was really able to enjoy these books, which I really love. All right, the next book that I read in the month of March is The Teacher by Freddie McFadden. Back on my thriller kick. Absolutely loved this story. I think I can go as far as to say that this is my favorite book so far of this year that I have read. Such a surprise ending, the twists, the turns. She always keeps you guessing. I love Frida so much. This book is just so great. I highly recommend it. As soon as I was done that book, I started The Coworker by Freida McFadden. Also super, super good. Definitely, I would say still unpredictable. Not as shocking as The Teacher. So maybe read The Coworker first and then The Teacher, so you're not kind of like lackluster like I kind of felt. The Coworker was still really good, and I felt like if I had read that in isolation or read that before The Teacher, I would have been like, wow, yeah, still like it's still a great book. I still want you to read it because it's great. But The Teacher, definitely, there was more of a, like when I was reading it, my coworker that I was with, I was reading it and she was like, are you okay over there? I'm like, oh my gosh, no. Like I just couldn't even contain myself because it was so good. So I just definitely The Teacher, highly recommend. All these books will be linked down below in my Amazon storefront. Yeah, so definitely I think about that 6 books for the month of March. Not bad at all. I haven't had a book month like that, I think, yet. That is my highest, but we are now into April. I'm already 2 books down, so that's pretty good because today's what, the 8th? So I just started another audiobook today, and I've got Kindle going. I have not picked up another physical yet. However, I just got my book of the month in the mail, and I've got the Abby Jimenez Just for the Summer. I do think that I might, I don't want to postpone it. My goal, and I think I've talked about it in another video, is to actually read the book of the month when it comes in the month that it comes in. Like, hi, shocking. That's what you should probably do. I don't think I've ever read, maybe in the beginning, but I can't recall the last time I actually read the book of the month, like in the month that I got it. Like, just doesn't happen. Like the last book of the month, I have it like over there and it's just sitting there staring at me. It's not that I don't want to read them. It's just I think I have so many books. This is just bookstore inventory. I have books behind that. And I just haven't gotten to read them. So maybe instead of saving this for the summer, like I was just going to say, I think I'm going to actually make this my next physical book. Oh my gosh, there we go. I just made the decision. I'm going to pick this up and make this my next physical book so I can actually read it in the month of April. And then I actually want to go back and start reading all of my book of the month books because I haven't done it yet. And there's so many good ones. Now that I have my reading chair set up, I think things are going well in the reading department because I cleaned out my office again, if you haven't seen that already. And I actually have like a reading spot now, and it is life-changing for me because now I actually come in here and it's inviting and it's warm, and I've been actually sitting in my reading chair and reading, and I just got a new ottoman. So like all the things have been set into place now, and then my workstation downstairs for like any kind of crafting or creating when I just kind of want to enjoy that because it's more of a hobby. Then that can go down in the basement now. So like that's really, really nice. But now my bookshop is upstairs and all that stuff. And then anything for like my Etsy store and stuff, like crafty stuff, that's downstairs. So that has definitely changed. So let me just go ahead and show you what I'm talking about over here. Actually, before I show you, my friend Paige also wrote a book. I'm so excited. I just got it off of Amazon. It is called Eloise Embossed, a novel memoir. And I am so excited about this one. I can put it like this if you want to like pause. But I'll also link this down below in my Amazon shop. Paige is an old coworker of mine, and we just enjoyed each other's company so much, and we've talked like business among the years, and she's been writing this book for quite some time, and she finally finished it and wrote it, and I'm like so proud of her. I can't wait to read this one. This also should maybe, actually this might need to be my next physical book, and then that one. I actually am going to have a toss up now because I really want to read Paige's book so long. I've been waiting for this for a while. So, yeah, one of these for sure. Whoops. And then my book of the month is A Page is Just a Number. Page is just a number. Yeah, I love it. All right, so yeah, let me go ahead and show you. So I've got my ottoman here. This is filled with actually an old comforter because it didn't come with filling. I filled it. And then now I have my book tree. But then look it, I've got my sloths, my comfy book blanket. I have my window. So like now I actually have a nice little nook. So when I come in here, I feel like comfortable. I've got all my whole little setup here. And so I've actually been finding myself reading a lot more because I actually have a spot that I can come and relax and enjoy. And like my kids are in the room next door, you can probably hear them, but they know where to come get me. But like they're doing their thing, I'm doing my thing, and then we go outside and play together and we do all the things. But like it is so nice having like a designated spot and having my books nearby and all that. I'm in love with it right now. That's why I'm gonna actually probably get ready to do that next, get some reading done. And yeah, if you have any recommendations of books that you want me to read, or you have any questions about the books that I spoke about today, definitely drop them in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this video and stay tuned for next video next week, hopefully. Thanks for watching. Bye.